The greatest illusion we live under is the myth of tomorrow. We wake up, the sun rises, and we assume that because the world was there yesterday, it will be there for us tomorrow. We build our lives on the foundation of an endless future, piling up plans and ambitions as if time were a resource we owned in abundance. But the truth is far more humbling and far more beautiful. Our life is not a solid structure, it is a breath. It is a flicker of a candle in a vast windswept hallway. To understand that life is short is not an invitation to despair. It is a spiritual awakening. It is the moment you realize that every single second is a miracle being gifted to you by the Creator, and to waste that second is to ignore the hands that are holding you in existence. When we talk about living every day for God, we are talking about a total transformation of how we perceive the clock. Most of the world views time as a currency to be spent on self-gratification, on the pursuit of comfort, or on the accumulation of things that will eventually return to the earth. But for the soul that is awake, time is a sacred trust. Every morning that you open your eyes, you are receiving a fresh investment from heaven. You are being given another chance to reflect the character of the divine in a world that has forgotten what holiness looks like. The heartbeat you just felt was not an automatic function of biology. It was a permission granted by God. He is whispering, live into your soul with every pulse. Imagine if you lived with a constant awareness of this brevity. If you knew that your time was limited, would you still hold on to that bitterness? Would you still spend hours chasing the validation of strangers on a screen? Would you still let your prayers be the last thing on your list instead of the first? The shortness of life is the greatest filter for our priorities. It strips away the trivial and leaves only the eternal. When we live for God, we stop trying to kill time and start trying to redeem time. We begin to see that even the most mundane tasks, washing dishes, walking to work, or speaking to a neighbor, are opportunities to act as a vessel for His light. To live for God every day is to live with a holy urgency. This doesn't mean living in a state of stress or rush. In fact, it is the opposite. It is a state of deep, intentional presence. It is the ability to look at a sunset and not just see colors, but to see a signature. It is the ability to listen to a friend in pain and not just hear words, but to hear a soul that God has placed in your path for a reason. This world is a temporary bridge, and a wise traveler does not build a palace on a bridge. Instead, they cross it with their eyes fixed on the destination. Our destination is the heart of the Creator, and every day we live for Him is a step closer to that home. Consider the silence of the stars and the complexity of your own DNA. The same God who stretched out the heavens and defined the boundaries of the seas is the God who wants to be the center of your Tuesday afternoon. He is not interested in just your Sunday mornings or your moments of crisis. He wants your ordinary hours. He wants to be the silent partner in your conversations, the strength in your fatigue, and the joy in your quiet moments. When you dedicate your day to Him, the pressure to achieve falls away. You no longer have to prove your worth to the world because your worth is already anchored in Him. You are free to be, free to love, and free to serve. As you move through this short life, remember that you are an ambassador of an eternal kingdom. Your actions are the only Bible some people will ever read. Your patience is the only evidence of God's grace some will ever see. Do not let the brevity of life scare you. Let it fire you up. Let it push you to love deeper, to forgive faster, and to seek God with a hunger that cannot be satisfied by anything on this earth. The shadow of death makes the light of God shine brighter. When we acknowledge that our time is a vapor, we finally learn how to breathe. We finally learn how to live not for the applause of men, but for the smile of the Almighty. We often wake up thinking we have forever. We plan for next year, next decade, and our retirement, yet we forget that the very breath leaving our lungs right now is a gift we cannot reclaim. Life is not a marathon, it is a fleeting vapor. When we say life is short, we aren't being pessimistic, we are acknowledging the preciousness of the clock. Every heartbeat is a drum roll leading toward an appointment we cannot cancel. To live for God is to recognize that time is not ours, it is His. We are stewards of seconds. Imagine if you treated every hour as a seed sown into eternity. Most people spend their days chasing shadows, fame that fades, money that burns, and validation from people who will eventually forget us. But when you shift your gaze toward the Creator, the pressure of running out of time vanishes. You stop racing against the world and start walking with the eternal. Living for God means finding the sacred in the ordinary. It's seeing His hand in the sunrise and His mercy in the quiet moments of the night. It is the realization that you were placed on this earth at this specific moment in history for a reason. You are not an accident of biology. You are a design of divinity. Our world is louder than ever. We are bombarded by notifications, anxieties, and the constant urge to become someone. But in the eyes of God, you already are someone. The tragedy of modern life is that we spend so much time building our own kingdoms that we forget the kingdom that actually lies. To live every day for God is to filter every decision through a higher lens. Ask yourself, does this action reflect His love? Does this word bring peace? Does this thought honor the one who gave me the mind to think it? This isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It is about moving from what can I get to how can I serve. When you live for God, your motivation changes. You no longer work just for a paycheck. You work as if you are presenting your efforts to the Master of the universe. You no longer love just because it feels good. You love because He first loved you. This shift gives you a superpower of peace. While the world frets over temporary losses, you are anchored in an eternal win. Living for God does not mean a life without storms. In fact, the shortest lives often face the heaviest rain, but there is a profound difference between suffering alone and suffering with a purpose. When life is lived for the divine, every trial becomes a refining fire. The hardships you face are not punishments, they are platforms. They are the moments where God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. If you are going through a dark season right now, remember that the stars need the darkness to shine. Living for God means trusting Him when the path is blurry. It means saying, I don't see the way, but I know the one who is the way. Short lives are often the most impactful because they are lived with urgency. Don't wait for better days to serve God. Serve Him in your pain. Serve Him in your confusion. When you offer your broken pieces to Him, He creates a mosaic more beautiful than anything you could have built with a whole heart. What will remain when you are gone? Your house will belong to another. Your clothes will be given away. Your social media profiles will fall silent. The only thing that outlasts the grave is what you did for the sake of the Almighty. A life lived for God leaves a spiritual fragrance. It impacts people you haven't even met. When you choose kindness over bitterness or integrity over a shortcut, you are writing a gospel that people read with their eyes. You are showing a cynical world that there is someone bigger than our selfish desires. Living for God every day means building a legacy that isn't made of stone, but of spirit. It's about the lives you touched, the prayers you whispered for others, and the way you stood for truth when it was unpopular. This is how you make a short life feel long, by connecting it to the infinite. You are weaving your small thread into a tapestry that spans across all of time. The sun is setting on today, and it will never rise again on this specific date. This is your call to action. Do not let another sunset pass where you lived only for yourself. To live for God is the ultimate adventure. It is a life of yes. Yes to His will, yes to His timing, and yes to His transformation of your character as you move forward. Let your life be a prayer. Let your breath be a thank you. Understand that short is a matter of perspective. 100 years is a blink in the face of eternity, but a single moment lived in total devotion to God can echo forever. Wake up tomorrow with one goal, to be a reflection of His light. If you fall, get up. If you stray, come back. He is not looking for your achievements. He is looking for your heart. Live today and every day as if it were your last opportunity to show the world who God is. Because in the end, that is the only thing that truly matters. The journey of a soul is not measured by the number of years lived, but by the depth of the connection established with the Creator. As we reach the conclusion of this reflection, we must confront the most profound truth of our existence. The curtain will eventually fall. For the one who has lived every day for God, this is not a moment of fear, but a moment of fulfillment. Imagine standing at the edge of a great ocean. Behind you is the small, dusty path of your earthly life, your struggles, your joys, your silent prayers, and your hidden sacrifices. Ahead of you is the vast, shimmering expanse of the infinite. To live for God is to spend your entire life packing a suitcase for a destination you have never seen but have always felt in your heart. We often treat this world as if it is our permanent home, anchoring ourselves to possessions and titles that have no weight in the spiritual realm. But the soul knows better. The soul feels the tug of the divine like a compass needle forever pointing north. When we surrender our daily lives to His will, we are essentially saying that we belong to another kingdom. We are admitting that while our feet walk on earth, our hearts reside in heaven. Think of the legacy you are finishing right now. Every word of encouragement you gave to a stranger, every moment you chose honesty over an easy lie, and every time you knelt in the silence of the night to seek guidance. These are the true riches of a human life. The world teaches us to hoard, but God teaches us to pour out. A life lived for God is a life that has been poured out as an offering. It is the realization that you were never the main character of your story. He was. You were the vessel, and the beauty people saw in you was simply His light shining through the cracks of your humanity. As the clock of your life ticks toward its final hours, the noise of the world begins to fade. The opinions of others, which once felt so heavy, suddenly lose their gravity. The wealth you accumulated becomes as light as dust. In that final clarity, only one thing remains: the relationship you built with the divine. Did you know Him? Did you let Him lead you? See His face in the poor, the broken, and the lonely? To live every day for God is to ensure that when that final moment arrives, the voice you hear isn't the voice of a stranger, but the voice of a Father saying, "Welcome home." This is the ultimate motivation. We do not live for God because we are afraid of punishment. We live for God because we are in love with the truth. We are captivated by the idea that the one who created the galaxies also knows the number of hairs on our heads. This intimacy is the fuel that keeps us going when the world is dark. It is the reason we can smile through tears and find peace in the middle of a storm. We are not just surviving, we are being prepared. Every day is a classroom, every trial is a lesson, and every breath is an opportunity to say, "Thy will be done." Let this be your final resolve. Do not let your life be a series of what-ifs. Do not reach the end of your days wondering what would have happened if you had truly given your heart to the Almighty. Start today. Start this very second. Realign your priorities. Forgive that person you've been holding a grudge against. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. Be the hands and feet of God in a world that is starving for His touch. The story of your life is being written in the book of eternity. Make sure the chapters are filled with devotion, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to the one who gave you life. Though life is short, the impact of a God-centered life is timeless. It ripples through generations, touching souls you will never meet and creating a melody that harmonizes with the songs of the angels. You are a bridge between earth and heaven. Walk that bridge with courage. Live with such intensity for the divine that when people look at you, they don't see you. They see the glory of the Creator. This is the end of your earthly script, but it is only the beginning. End ye of your eternal story.